What's your sir, this is a Wendy's moment. What's the most ridiculous PowerPoint presentation you've ever witnessed? Some guy I barely knew tried to steal my impossible to get concert tickets by creating PowerPoint slides that proved he was statistically a bigger fan than me. 3 months ago, I managed to score 2 floor seats for this band's reunion tour at the only venue they were playing in our state. The tickets cost me half a paycheck, but whatever, because experiences matter more than eating anything besides ramen for a month. Everything was chill until Dexter joined our friend group through my buddy who met him at some coding boot camp. The first time we hung out, he walked into the bar and asked, "So what does everyone's Spotify Wrapped look like?" When I mentioned having concert tickets, his whole face changed and he lunged across the table showing me his phone. I'm actually in the top 0.001% of listeners globally, which statistically makes me their #1 fan in this metropolitan area. That night at 2 a.m., I got a text that said, "I've spent 3.7% of my waking life listening to them." The next morning, I woke up to 17 screenshots and a shared Google Doc titled Comparative Fan Analysis, where he'd already filled in his stats with blank columns for mine. Every time we hung out, he'd slide printed graphs across the table, asking to verify the seat quality matches fan dedication levels. 3 days later, I got a group text that said, "Mandatory meeting tomorrow, 2 p.m. to resolve ticket allocation dispute through objective metrics." And I thought someone's account got hacked. But then my friend sent a PDF agenda with discussion points, and someone else replied, "I'll bring the projector for presentations." I showed up at the apartment and walked into 8 people with laptops open, sitting in a circle like some kind of tech seance. Dexter had already connected his laptop to a TV and was adjusting fonts on a presentation titled Quantifying Fan Dedication, a Data-Driven Approach. "Welcome everyone," he said, standing up with a clicker like he was giving a TED Talk. "Today we'll determine through empirical evidence who deserves these tickets based on measurable fan engagement." He clicked through 20 slides of scatter plots and regression analyses, while everyone nodded like this was reasonable. Some guy I'd never seen before stood up next with printed concert tickets dating back to 2019, spread across the coffee table like evidence in a murder case. "My concert attendance historical index shows clear dedication patterns," he said, pointing at highlighted dates with a laser pointer he brought from home. People started shouting out suggestions like, "What about a trivia contest about B-sides?" and "We should calculate merchandise value divided by annual income." Someone was literally building a tournament bracket on a whiteboard for fan battles, while another person Googled how to contact band managers for dispute resolution. The whole room erupted into debates about whether streaming counts should be weighted and if vinyl ownership meant more than digital downloads. Dexter kept interrupting everyone to remind them about his statistical supremacy until he stood on the couch and shouted, "I've literally listened to them while unconscious using sleep headphones, so my dedication transcends waking consciousness." Everyone stopped talking and stared at him standing there, breathing heavily with his graphs scattered on the floor. "Okay," I said, standing up. "Let's just call Ticketmaster since I bought the tickets and they're in my name." Everyone nodded like I'd suggested something brilliant instead of the most obvious solution in the world. We called on speaker and waited through 40 minutes of hold music while Dexter paced around muttering about corporate gatekeeping. Finally, a woman answered, sounding like death would be a vacation. My friend started explaining the entire situation while she stayed completely silent, except for aggressive keyboard typing. After he finished, there was a long pause before she said, "Sir, the tickets belong to whoever's name is on the order, and that's literally how purchases work in America." She read my confirmation number and credit card digits in the most monotone voice possible. Dexter jumped up shouting, "What about fan verification protocols?" And she cut him off with, "There's no such thing as fan verification protocols because that's insane, and I don't get paid enough for this." Then she said, "Anything else?" And when Dexter opened his mouth, she said, "No, there isn't," and hung up. The room went dead silent while Dexter stood there with his mouth still open. He slowly started gathering his graphs and laptop cables without looking at anyone, then walked to the door and turned around. "The system rewards capitalism over passion," he said to the room before leaving, and slamming the door so hard a fan dedication chart fell off the wall. 2 weeks later, my phone blew up with Instagram notifications. Dexter was live streaming from the very back corner of the upper deck with commentary like, "Actually, the acoustic quality is superior at this distance," and "Real fans appreciate the holistic aerial perspective." My friend texted me a photo of Dexter wearing a homemade shirt with 0.001% printed on it and an arrow pointing at his face. Meanwhile, I stood 10 feet from the stage with my boyfriend having the time of my life.